Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Banyu Thoughts. And before I actually talk about our topic, I just want to ask those who are listening if you've ever had an experience in your life where akala mo everything is hopeless. Let's say, for example, heartbreak. Like heartbreak and you think na hindi ka na makaka-recover sa heartbreak. Or you have lost your job and you don't know how to get your another job again. Or let's say you lost your house, or you have so much debt to pay and you don't know how to pay it. If ever you've gone through these things, you can relate to this topic of the episode for this podcast. Why? Because similar to, I think it's generally everyone's experience. We go we go through life having good things happening to us, and then bad things happening to us. So it's like a 1 minute it's a good thing, and another minute it's a bad thing, and another minute it's a good thing, and another minute it's a bad thing. So in my own personal experience, I've gone through something similar. So that's why the topic for today is, how do you navigate the life's ups and downs. um, on a personal experience, I can tell you, there's one, I think, very traumatic experience that I probably experienced several times. The first one, when I came back from New Zealand, and one of the first things, well, I think a year or two later, one of the things that I did was to, purchase my own condominium, or my own place to stay. Um, no, and at that time, it was the reason behind it is because I wanted to. It wasn't the reason for, like, oh, I have a new place to stay, but more because I wanted to prove myself that I can be independent. Second, I can show off that I have a place to stay, so that kind of status for me. However, the problem there was, um, because income was not as regular, you can say. I know at the back of my mind that it was my pride that just wanted to hold on to this, and I won't be able to afford it. I mean, in the long run. So, and that's what basically what happened. No, after a few years, maybe I think 2-3 years down the line, I lost the property, and that devastated me a lot. Well, because I put a lot of investment there. So whatever I earned during that time went to payment for the property itself, for the condo. I really had good memories in that place, and all of a sudden it was gone, and I had to move back to my parents' place. And I didn't know how to recover from that, because my pride didn't allow me to really, just think that it was really actually my fault. So kaya at that time I was a bit still stubborn, and still a bit, you can say, arrogant, or have this mindset. And then I left that place. I left my parents' place eventually. I moved to another condo, but this time I just rented it out. I found this another one, a good in a good location, and that's where I moved it. I moved in. So similarly, um, I didn't lose that one, but because during the pandemic, it wasn't a good environment for me, mentally speaking, for my well-being. And my best friend Jeff asked me to if I wanted to go to the mountains, because they have a house in Baguio City, which is in the northern part of the Philippines. And I agreed, no, because like, the lease is going to expire anyway, so might as well let it expire and move to another location, maybe have a fresh start. And then I stayed there for a couple of years, and then when I recovered from feeling depressed as well because of the pandemic, I decided to come out with another project, which is like a dream project that I always wanted. dream business that I've always wanted as well, which is a cafe. So I did put up a cafe in Baguio City, and it's called the Mystery Cafe. And I put it up, and I was successful in raising funds for it. However, a year later, that was just this year, I had to close it again for many reasons. For one is uh, the environment there wasn't really good. The place where we had it, we had really bad neighbors. Second is because I had to move back because my mom needed someone to accompany her in the house, no, and that all spiraled down as well, no. So if you notice, like there were some good things, there were this highlight. Those were the highlights of the downs that I had in life. And but there were also occasional upsides to it. No, they were in between those things. So things that I've accomplished and things that I'm very grateful for. However, if I go through all of that, like for example, right now and during the past when I start recalling it, grabe, I didn't know how to recover from those things. I didn't know how actually survive throughout those things. And I remember what my mom told me is she said, all these things, time heals, no? So maybe the hurts and all that stuff or confusion. And I agree with her, no? So eventually you'd recover. So what did I do or how did I recognize? Because right now I'm saying when I look back in those years, I didn't have the mindset that I would have now. But if I were to go back in those years and advise myself what I need to do or what I should have done, I would have told myself, a couple of things. So five, I think would say like five things. Five things that probably would help me go through that process or go through that stage of the down in my life, no? And the first one I would probably tell myself would be embrace it. Because if even though the circumstances were caused by myself or externally by someone else or by something else or by the environment, I have to embrace it. Meaning, I can't go against it. I can't go against the whole situation because it's happening or it has happened already. Uh, and it's a temporary setback. I would tell myself that. So this is a temporary setback. It may take a while. You may not know when it's gonna get back. Go up, but it's definitely gonna go up. You just don't know when. So the anxiety and everything that goes with the down, you just have to bear it and then work through that. No, work through that wave. Um, and then the second thing I would tell myself, if I was like way back then, giving myself an advice, um, learn from it. Kasi in my case about the property and all these things, one thing that I kept on doing or I kept on doing the same mistake over and over again is being able to have on the financial side appropriate funds to fund whatever project that is. So, and always starts very small and then work your way up. So cash flow is king. Basically, that's basically the learning that I would tell myself. And other thing would be I would tell myself to you know be very conservative in your projects, and don't expand too fast. Try to maximize the good things that are happening, and then that's when you decide whether if you have enough data, that's when you decide to do other things. So learning from the failures, because those are points that I can now use when if I ever engage in another project, similar project or any project again in the future, which I will do anyway. But at least ngayon may baon na ako na, okay, at least alam ko na kailangan may data for this. Alam ko na this is how it should start first, ito muna yung gagawin ko, etc., etc. And then the third one would be, the third advice I would tell myself is, you cannot shoulder the burden by yourself, so seek support. Um, find if you, whenever you're in the lows, find your circle of friends. No, find your circle of friends who are, or circle of who, people who love you unconditionally. And I personally can count that one in just like my two hands, even one hand nga lang. There are not very many people who I can share or look for support, especially when these things happen. Definitely, my best friend is one of them, because throughout all of those years that have happened, the ups and downs of my life, he was constantly there and really um, helped me out. No, go through the motion of things. On to the point that he got married. Up to now, he's still married. He still helps me out. Go through the motion of things. No, in fact, he was the one who encouraged me. That if you're doing this podcast, remember, there's one thing you have to remember: you have to be very consistent. So yeah, and so look for the support from friends, and even seek help professionally. No, so if you can find someone who, maybe you need a psychologist or psychiatrist to help you go through the process, that will be ideal. It's for friends alone or family or loved ones who can be understanding of the situation. It would be good to seek their support, just to be able to vent out, because sometimes we all know what we need to do and how we can do things, but it would be very, very therapeutic when we just let it all out to someone who we trust. And then the fourth thing I would tell myself is that maintain a positive outlook. I know it's very hard to think of and to feel and to, to consider, considering a situation when you're down, but it is really helpful that there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not going to be forever like this, because life is is a journey. So it can have its ups and it can have its downs. So eventually it will have its up again. So maintain that positive outlook that these are all temporary, and dwelling on the problem is not going to help you out. So work on what you can do on the present. So that's one of the learnings that I have even up now. When I lost the mystery cafe, it's something that I cannot control, but I can work on the present. And then what's the work? What work am I doing now? Is preparing, planning things out, organizing things, making sure that I start small and start something. Even though it's not gonna make in as much money as the one I did before, but as long as I start, start doing things, and that really helped me gain balance again and gain confidence in myself that I can restart again, no, redo things again. It may take a while, but at least the momentum, or at least getting the momentum, is there. So just to start lang. So that's in fact, this November, I'm pretty happy that I'll be restarting two things. One is the Experience Philippines. We're officially announcing that we're back. And two, I'm restarting the Mystery Cafe by doing online deliveries for the meantime. And then on the last one, practice mindfulness. I would say this is very crucial, and it really helps a lot if you write a gratitude journal on a day-to-day basis. Because at the end of the day, if you're still alive and breathing, that's something to be very thankful for, no? Even though how bad the situation is, there are many good things that are still happening to you. And I know it sounds very hard to imagine, but the mere fact that you wake up is a good thing. There are many people who die, when they go to sleep, and then they don't wake up the next day. It's, we're lucky ones. We're still awake, And then secondly, if we can eat properly, if we have a house to stay, if we have a place to stay, those things we should be thankful for. If you have a family member, our mom or dad or our sibling or anyone in our loved ones who constantly messages us and asks how we are, that's something to be very grateful for. So I would suggest to write this down, then to document it. In my case, I'd started doing this starting this year, not 2023. I started writing my own daily gratitude journal. And now it's November 1 and I've looked back, wow, ang dami ko nang sinulat. And I'm really thankful for so many things that have happened in my life. And it helps put things in perspective that despite all the things that have happened to me, which I know that some of them or many of them are my responsibility, and the reason for them happening is because of me, and I take responsibility for that. But there's also good things that I did, and there's good things I can look forward in the future. So it sucks really big time. I mean, it really, really sucks when those things happen, and it's really depressing. And I don't know how many times I've been like, I don't want to do anything anymore because I'm a failure and all that. So many limiting beliefs. But I still, now that I did one thing that I really am proud of is I actually wrote down, made a visual imagery of it's called accomplishment board. It's similar to my vision board, but accomplishment board. Things that over the past years that I have accomplished and that I'm really very proud of myself. And I placed it in front of my desk so I can actually see it every single day. And now I'm looking at it right now and I see so many good things that have happened. Interviews with news agencies, meeting with high profile business tycoons, winning an award here and there, having amazing friends, being written down. I mean, having articles written in newspapers, traveling to other countries in Europe, for example. So many things I'm thankful for that I wouldn't have put into my perspective if I hadn't really written it down and looked back in my life and said, oh, these are the good things that have happened pala, no? These are the accomplishments that I did over the past years. No? So it wasn't really like I'm a really bad person. Circumstances lang talaga, and that's because of pride and my limiting beliefs, and I guess my attitude, no? So I would suggest those 5 things. So first, you embrace the situation. Learn from the failures. Number 2, seek support. Number 3, maintain a positive outlook. Number 4, and then practice mindfulness by doing gratitude journals on a day-to-day basis, because that changes and that helps put things into perspective. So ikaw, anong kwento mo, ang kwentong ups and downs mo sa buhay? Just let me know, no? So, and I hope this podcast was able to help you out, reframe things in your mind. I'm not saying it's gonna be, I'm perfect now, no? I'm just saying these are the things that have happened to me, and at least now I have a different mindset. Or if anything that happens to me again, I won't be too stressed out. At least have tools to work on, or at least have a framework that I can apply so that I don't, feel really miserable or, I don't know, hopeless. But looking forward on how I can actually grow from the situation that has happened. No? So that's about it for our episode of this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you ever like this episode, please do share it to a friend, or you can follow or subscribe to this podcast in Spotify. And you can even follow me on Facebook as well, Banyo Thoughts by Gian. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day ahead. See you guys.